links will be shared on the chat. And if you have any question, kindly note them down. At the end of the class, the facilitator is going to respond to all the questions after the class. Okay, after the class, the facilitator is going to respond to all the questions. This class is hands-on, so I'm very sure how with your working and you practice as as you're writing it, as the instructor is guiding you, you are also doing, because it is what you do that you know. You cannot assume you know what you have not practiced. So practice makes perfection. So let us practice as the instructor guides us, as the facilitator guides us. Okay, good. So I'm very sure that all of us on this call can testify that the 4 days, the past 3 days has been an awesome experience. You have learned a lot. So if you have someone a testifier, a witness in this class, I want you to just celebrate the facilitator with your favorite emoji. You have witnessed that the last 3 days has been awesome, has been an awesome section. Okay, good. Please let me see you with your just reply with your favorite emoji in the chat. That's a witness that wow, good God doing. Yeah, it has been divine. Yes, it's highly impactful. Honestly, the facilities is good. The facilitation is good. Thank you very much. Oh, Samuel, cool, good. Temitope, cool. Okay, wow. Amida, she loves it. Awesome. That's good. Thank you very much. So you can always Olayoju Deborah loves it. Okay, Ibrahim Zaka. Oh, Oni, wow, smile. Awesome. Honestly, the foundation is good. Nothing less than 100%. Very nice. Wow, good. Now, at the end, this is our watchword. We want to give the best. And then all of you on this call, very soon, we expect you to also continue the cycle of benevolence. Share with your community, because our vision is to raise 1 million talents. We cannot do it alone. And that's why we are training armies, that we train other armies to become AI generous. Okay, good. Thank you very much. I loves it. Victor, 100%. Okay, good. So let me quickly introduce our facilitator and just hand over the mic to him. He's no other person but than Olamide Shogbamu, who has been facilitating for the past 3 days. Okay, so please, Olamide Shogbamu, you're welcome to class. I'm glad to hand over the mic to you today to also deliver awesome lecture, teaching as usual. Thank you very much, Olamide. Olamide, over to you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Tejumala, for that powerful introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to day 4 of Learning Excel and AI in Every City. I am glad that you have been enjoying the class. It's a pleasure to be your facilitator too. And today I want to promise you that there is something in store for you to learn. And as we embark on this learning period, I hope you enjoy today's session too. So kindly let me just get my screen and we'll dive right into what we have for us today. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah, okay, welcome back. Apologies taking a little bit of time. My PowerPoint is loading. I'm just downloading the slides, so please give me a minute and then we'll be together.
Okay, hello everyone. So as the facilitator brings up his screen, please let us invite our friends that are not yet on this call, are supposed to be on this call. So let us invite them, share the link to join with them so that they can join, and then they can also be part of this. We just have 80 persons on this call at the moment, and we also have grown. At least we are supposed to be 100 by now. Okay, please share the link with your friend that is supposed to be on this call that are not yet here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, please. Let me know if you can see my screen now. I believe I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, let me know if you can see my screen. Let me see. So once again, welcome everybody. And today we'll be looking at advanced functions and lookups in Microsoft Excel. Yeah, so let's just quickly do a recap of what we have learned so far during this class. I can see that some of us are already inviting our friends. Let's keep the momentum up. Let's spread the good news that Data Science Nigeria has brought to us. Yeah. So as I was saying, let's use while we are inviting our friends and the people that we know that are supposed to be on this call, let's quickly take these few minutes to look back at what we have learned since the beginning of AI in every city. Yeah, so we looked at Microsoft Excel. And the reason why we started with Microsoft Excel is because Microsoft Excel is like the fundamental software for data analysis. And it is fundamental because it is versatile, it is easy to use across all business operations. Then we went straight to like the interface, understanding the interface of Microsoft Excel. That is where we talked about the ribbon, the tab, the groups, the functions, this what a cell is. Then we went further on to look at different functions and formulas in Microsoft Excel, how we create functions and how we create formulas. Then we went more further to look at, okay, cell referencing. How do we reference a cell? We looked at pivot tables. And yesterday we looked at chart creation in Excel. How do we create charts and what are the different kind of charts that are possible? We looked at the best practices for creating a chart. Your chart must have a title. Your chart must have axis label. You must use a balanced color, a cool color palette, and the likes. So today we have something a little bit different to complement what we have been learning so far, advanced functions and lookup. Yeah, so one of the things that indicates a proficient Excel or a good Excel user is that they do ask them, do you know how to use lookups? Yes. So if you say you learn Excel and you have not learned lookups, you have just learned some basic part of Excel. But today we are learning lookup, which is going to take us like a little bit higher than the beginner level. Yes, a little bit higher than the beginner level. So we're also going to be looking at some other functions like the logical function and how to use them for error handling. For error handling. When you have error, how do you use logic operation to handle your error? And that is what we are going to be looking at today. So let us dive into the objectives. So by the end of this class, you should be proficient in using logical function and lookup function in Microsoft Excel for data analysis. What you learn how to use the if, the and, the or, XOR, if error, and the likes. So advanced lookup functions like VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index and match we'll also look at during this class. So basically, those are the two power-packed lesson outline that we have for today, and then out when we apply them is okay, error handling and troubleshooting techniques. So we apply the logic functions for error handling. Then we also look at real life scenario of using VLOOKUP and HLOOKUPs. So let's proceed with the slide. Okay. Excel logical function are used to determine if a given expression is true or false. Yeah, so you can then choose to perform another thing based on the outcome you have checked. So basically, logical operations are always operations that check for Boolean value, or let's say binary returns. So it is either, if we say something is logical, it means that either it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. So when it comes to the Boolean value, is say it's either it is true or it is false. When it comes to the binary value, we say it's either 1 or it is 0. So mostly logical operation, it's either true or false. Even if you remember when we were doing for logical operation, we do union, intersection, we do concatenation, and some other logical operation in mathematics. At the end of the day, we end up saying our answer is either true or false, because logic is in two ways. It's either it is valid or it is not valid. It's either it is true or it is not true. It's either it is 1 or it is 0. So basically, logical function in Excel too, they check expressions, and they check if it is true or false. Then we can now say if it is false, add this value to it. For instance, okay, we are going to look at the if function. So the first example of logical function that is here is if. So we can check for an expression and say if A2 is greater than 60, it should normally, if it is greater than 60, if you don't specify anything, it should print out true. And then if it is not greater than 60, it should print out false. But Excel allows us to write custom response apart from true or false. So if it is greater than 60, you can write pass instead of writing true. So you say passed. Then if it is not greater than 60, you can write try again. Yes, you can write try again. So that is one of the basic logical function that we have in Excel. We also have other ones like or. We know from our set theory and from set theory, I think it's a theory because I don't think, but people have been using it practically. And yes, from our set notation, we know whenever you see or simply means that check both cases or check multiple cases. If any one of them is true, then the expression is true. Let's take for instance, I have a boy named Wale, and I say to myself that if Wale is in primary 1 or primary 2 or primary 3 or primary 4, Wale is in this school. It means that I said check for Wale in primary 1, check for Wale in primary 2, check for Wale in primary 3, check for Wale in primary 4. If Wale is only in primary 4, then my expression is true because I have used or in that case. But if I use and is simply telling me that Wale must be in primary 1, Wale must be in primary 2, Wale must be in primary 3, and Wale must be in primary 4 before that expression can be true. If Wale is in 3 classes and is not in the 4th class, that expression cannot be true. I hope we understand that explanation that I gave. Okay, so let's proceed. Then I said logical function in Excel can be used to categorize data entries based on their value in the cell. So we can actually split data and classify them or categorize them based on their value. Just the way I said, if if H is greater than 60, put as pass. If it is less than 60, put as try again. Meaning that I have classified students based on their grade, and I've classified some as they have passed and then some as they should try again. So we can make other classifications like that. Oh, if their name starts from letter A to letter C, let them wear color red. If their name starts from letter D to letter F, let them wear color blue. So we can do those classifications with logical operations in Excel. An example is conditional statements, and that is where we use if most of the time. Another statement apart from conditional can be comparison. So comparison statement too. So let's proceed. So how do we use this logic function? I just gave a brief explanation on them and how we can use them. I give a brief explanation on them and how we can use them. Sorry, please, there is noise in my background. I'm trying to eliminate. Okay, I hope you can hear me loud and clear now. So let's quickly look at what we have. So for the OR function, I said it checks multiple options and return true if at least one is true and false if all are false. So this OR function only returns false if it has checked all the cases and then none of it is true. That is when it returns false. Unlike the AND function returns true only if all specified conditions are true, meaning that it returns true only if all the cases are true, enabling you to check for multiple requirements simultaneously. That is, I can actually, if I want to use two or more criteria to validate something, I can use the AND. I can say, okay, it is going to be bad if it cannot read and it cannot write and it cannot speak. So I'm using 3 conditions together and I want to validate based on those 3 conditions. That is when AND can come in. So the XOR is an exclusive OR function, and that is, here is what we mean by exclusive OR. It returns true if an odd number of its inputs are true, and false if the even number are true. So this exclusive OR is, I'm trying to remember a use case. I'm trying to put it into a use case. Now we are using OR condition. We have multiple conditions and we want to use OR. So if two conditions are true, that is, if two conditions are true and not three, okay, let me put it this way. Let's put it this way. If you specify one condition, it is true, it's going to bring true. If you specify two conditions, that's even, it's going to bring false. If you specify three conditions, that's odd, it's going to bring true. Now that is how that exclusive OR works. So it's like interpolating it. Then the not condition is simply a negation, meaning that it is the opposite of what is true. So if A is greater than 10 and you say not, then if A is greater than 10 is returning true. Then if you put not, it will return false. If you put not, it will return false. Let's proceed. There are more functions that I want us to see. So we have if. So this if can be looked at can be used together with some other functions. Yes, we can look at this if function together with other functions. So we can specify a simple if. That is just if one condition, only one. If C2, you can use this as example to follow along what I am explaining. If C2 is greater than B2, print cut, otherwise print copy. So this one is one condition, simple if. So we can also specify more than one condition in the if statement, and that one we call it ifs. So ifs. It allows us to specify a simple condition with multiple options. So we say if, then we put S in front. If C7 is greater than 4,000, print invest. If B7 is greater than 4,000, print invest. If C7 is greater than 4,000, is less than 4,000, print invest. So these are multiple conditions. Then at the end of it, you now put otherwise, meaning that if none of this condition is met. So this is like saying if this is this, comma, then do this. If that is correct also, comma, then do this. So it's just like saying if then. So if C7 is greater than 4,000, okay, check another condition. Is B7 also greater than 4,000? So that is what that does. Then nested if, meaning that, oh, I have multiple conditions already. I want to wrap it up and know the value. Then I want to use the value of that first condition as I want to use it as another condition. That was what we mean by nested if. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to explain. So I'm trying to say that, okay, we have used C2 is greater than B2, print cut or print copy. Then I want to use, if this value is cut, print this one. So the first one is going to be a nest. It's going to be inside a bigger if. So here we are saying nested if. I'm saying, so we can use the AND function instead of writing the if function 2 times. So here is what it looks like. I could have said if B5 is greater than 4,000 and C5 is greater than 4,000, ordinarily this would have print true. So I'll just say, ordinarily I should have said if this is greater than this, and open another bracket and say if in an outside bracket and say if 5,000 is greater than 4,000. So, but because I want to use AND, I'm writing two functions and I'm using AND. So this is now like if this and this are correct, then check it also against this condition. So it will print 0 if this condition is actually true. So that is how that works. For the sum if and sum ifs, It's like, okay, sum this and this if this is true. Then if it is multiple condition, it should sum all of them together if they are true. So here is one thing for us to note. We can use a wildcard along criteria in an if statement to make it flexible. We can actually use a wildcard, and a wildcard is like using it to state a particular range of data that we don't really know, or we can't really specify. I'm looking at an example of a wildcard that we can use. So if you use wildcard, it means it can be any number. It can be any number, and don't worry, we'll see how we apply the if functions. Just this is just like an explanation of how it works and that. So we have seen logical function, if function. So we'll use these functions in our practical session. So let's look at lookup functions. So we have three lookup functions. We have the VLOOKUP, the HLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP. Then we also have index and match. So Excel advanced lookup function can be used to find a certain value within a data range and retrieve a corresponding value from a different column. So what this part is saying is simply that you can have a worksheet with different tables, and then you can actually use the value of one table. You can actually look at one value from one table and return a corresponding value. So let me say I have a table that says I have a table that says grade 0 to 10, give it 0 to 30, give it F, 31 to 40, give it D, 40 to 50, give it C. I have a table that says that. Then I can actually just say, because this person has scored 58, this 58 belongs to which range in that first table? Okay, use 58 to look for this value and return if it is A or B or C or D. So it's just like using 58 to look up a table and returning a corresponding value from that table. And that is what VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP allows us to do. So this feature lets you look up data over several sheets, return numerous results, and do multi-criteria searches. Excel has multiple advanced lookup functions, and these I've mentioned: VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, match, and XLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP is what we are looking at first. So the VLOOKUP function is a predefined function in Excel which allows us to search vertically. So the V that is there simply means vertical lookup, because it allows us to search vertically across a column, meaning that if I specify a particular column name now, I can search the entire column. And then if I find whatever I am searching for, I can return value from any other column. That is what it does. In simple English, you can look for a value within a specified column and return the corresponding value from any other column. Now, let's say I have a class record that has names of students, and I have different subjects and their score. So I want to know what Wale has scored in English. I can just use name column to search for Wale's name and return whatever Wale has scored in English with a VLOOKUP. I can also use an HLOOKUP for that, but HLOOKUP, like you have guessed or you must have guessed, we look for that value horizontally. So if I want to use HLOOKUP, it means that my data must be arranged in the horizontal manner, in a way that it obeys the horizontal rule. So let's look at what are the syntax of the VLOOKUP and how do we crack it. So we always have a table array. It's a range of data sets. So you can call this a table name because you can actually name your table, or you can call it a table range, or you can call it a table array. That is simple. You are still saying the same thing. Which table do you want to search? Which table do you want to search? So we also have the column index number. So whenever we are using HLOOKUP or whenever we are using VLOOKUP, we always have column index number. For VLOOKUP, it is called column index number. For HLOOKUP, it is called row index number, because this index number is that from which column do you want to return the value. So if my column index number is 4, it's simply saying that I want to return the value in column 4. So maybe I'm searching the name in column 1 and the value I want to return is in column 4. So I'm simply saying that my column index number is going to return values that are from column 4. Then the range lookup is actually the data that the table range set to true if you want it to be exact. Or okay, range lookup is actually set to true if you want it to be between one range or the other, and set to false if you don't want it to be between a range. There is also one that says that if you want it to be exact, yeah, it's the same thing. It's just different English. Because so range lookup simply means that do you want an exact value lookup or do you want a range value lookup? So if you remember the other time I said if somebody score 10 to 0 to 30, pass that person as failed. I mean score that person as failed. If the person score 31 to 40, cut that person as passed. If somebody score, I mean score that person as fair. If somebody score 41 to 50, score that person as passed. Now, if I want to look up for, say, 45, you remember that in the table that I have designed or defined, that 31 to 40, you realize that there is no 45 in that table because I also have 41 to 50. So if somebody has scored 45, where will it look at? That is where that range comes in. It will now say, okay, because there is no 45 in this table, then I'm supposed to look for a value that's a range that 45 falls in between. So if you wanted to look for a range value, you set that range lookup to true. But if you wanted to look for 45 or 41 gongo or 45 gongo, it means that you have specified that 45 in that table and it will look for the exact value. But if you don't want to look for the exact value, just look for the range, meaning that you set the range lookup to true. So the same logic applies for the HLOOKUP. The same logic applies for the HLOOKUP. So HLOOKUP function is a predefined function in Excel which allows you to search horizontally across the row. So the lookup must, so here's the important thing to note. So if you are doing HLOOKUP, the value that you want to use to do the lookup must be the first row in the table. It is important. Remember, if you are doing VLOOKUP, the value that you want to use to do the lookup must be the first column. If you are doing HLOOKUP, because it will look it will look horizontally and return everything that is below it. So if you are not putting the value you want to use for the lookup above, at the top, whatever is above, it doesn't understand it. Because the way HLOOKUP is designed is that if you specify chemistry, if you specify 1, yes, let's just use chemistry as the value you want to look in the upper part. It will look at the heading of the table, and return anything that match chemistry. So it will now look in that column, it will look down because it is horizontal search. It will take your table and search horizontally for it. Then it will return everything that is below it. That is where the value can be returned. And that is how HLOOKUP works. So we are going to see a example of how it works when we get to the practical session. So let's just see this here. You see that instead of having column index number, we now have row index number. Row index number is simply saying from which row do you want to return this value? From which row do you want to return this value? So you put your row index number there. Then we have the match. The match function returns the relative position of a specific value within a range. So the match we just look is a lookup too, but instead of the match to tell you that this is the value that is there, match we only return the position, that is the number of that particular value that you are looking for. So it returns the relative position of a specific value within a range, allowing for a precise lookup capabilities. So when I say it allows for precise lookup capabilities, is that if you use match and you specify the value you are looking for, and you specify the table you want to look for it, and you specify if you are looking for exactly that value, if you are looking for the one that is bigger than it, if you are looking for the one that is smaller than it, then you can specify it as maybe 1, 0, or -1. So here is what it does. When it finds the value, let's say I'm looking for 60, and it finds 60 in my table, it will tell me that 60 can be found in, let's say, B12, or let's say row 12 or row 210. You just tell me the position. That's all. Do not tell me what, well, it will not fetch any other value. Yes, it will not fetch any other value. It will not return any other value. It will just tell me that this particular person that you are looking for, you see him in number 24. So maybe I'm looking for Wale and I don't know the position Wale is in my table. I don't know the column number. I can just use match to search for Wale, and it will return the position where I can find Wale. Now, if you want to utilize that position it has given to you, you use it inside another function, and that another function is called index. So when we talk about match in Excel, we usually talk about index and match together, because whatever match give you, the whatever value match has given you is called index. So if you are familiar with tables very well, you know every observation, every entry, they have their index number. So whatever match has helped you to fetch is called index number. So where can you utilize that index number is inside an index function. And that is the next thing that we are looking at now. We are looking at index function. And yes, so if you look at this index now, you see that the index is it's taking first an array, or it's taking a reference. So in the column of a reference is that index number that you are able to fetch with the match function. So most of the time, people will just, instead of using array or reference, people will just put a match inside an index function, and then they will now specify the row number that they want to return. So index function returns a value. You see, this one returns a value, not a position or anything. Or reference from a table or range based on specified column and row number. It is often used together with match. Reference is the range of cells to look within. The range of cells to look within. The next function that we are talking about now is the XLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP. So in this case, what XLOOKUP does is that it's a little bit advanced than VLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP combines both the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP together. and it does a powerful search in your Excel sheet to return almost anything that you want to search horizontally, vertically, diagonally. XLOOKUP is dynamic and is able to return your search. So if you can use XLOOKUP, it means that you don't need to use VLOOKUP because XLOOKUP can do what VLOOKUP can do. If you can use XLOOKUP, it also means you don't need HLOOKUP because XLOOKUP can do what HLOOKUP can do. If you can use XLOOKUP, it means you don't need index and match because index and match is just a way of being careful when you are searching. But with XLOOKUP, whatever you are being careful about, XLOOKUP is already automating it. So it's doing it more efficiently. And that is why XLOOKUP is a more powerful lookup function in Excel. So what are the syntax of XLOOKUP? Lookup array. So the first thing that you are going to put is the lookup value. The lookup value, what value are you looking for? Then you now specify again, what is your lookup array? That is which date table do you want to search? What range do you want to search? Which reference do you want to search? Then you now also specify your return array. Then your return array will now tell you that, okay, from which column do you want me to return this value that you are looking for? So you see that this one does not tell you that look for the value in the first, it does not say if you are looking for a row, it does not say it has to be the first row like HLOOKUP. It's just telling me that give me the range, I will handle it. Give me the range you want to return also, I will handle it. Then it's saying that match mode. Do you want to specify exactly, or you want to do maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, or you want to specify a wildcard, or say this has to be a number, you can just put asterisk for that. So that also a wildcard can also mean that this number I'm looking for has to start with 4. Yes, can say the number has to start with 4. So if you say 4 and asterisk, a wildcard, so it can return 40, it can return 41, it can return 42, it can return 43. So that is what wildcard does. You don't know exactly what number, but you know it has to start with 4. Or let's say you know it has to end with 4. Then you can do asterisk 4. So you can print 64, you can print 54, you can print 34. It's just that asterisk means that it can allow any value, but the one that is specified will be there as the condition. Then we also have the error handling part that says, if not found, what should I do? So you can say, oh, if this value is not found, write not present, or write null, or just use hyphen, or exactly something like that. So this is XLOOKUP in a more explained manner and how you can use a wildcard on XLOOKUP. So please give me a minute. So here I explained XLOOKUP and I said XLOOKUP is a versatile search tool finding the first or desired match in a table, allowing for flexible matching and returning corresponding value from the same row in another column. So you can return results from the same row in another column. Yeah. So if I have the name in one row, so it will return the value in a corresponding row, but that corresponding row is in another column. So a simple way of using XLOOKUP is to say XLOOKUP in open brackets, the value you want to look, let's say L2, just follow this, and then specify your table range A2 to A86. That's the value where you want to look at. That's the array or the range where you want to look at the value from. Then you want to return the value from column F. So F2 to F86. You can also nest an XLOOKUP. So nesting means that putting an XLOOKUP inside an XLOOKUP. So if an XLOOKUP is returning a value, then you can still use that value you can still look for another value inside that value. Okay, well, let's say if an XLOOKUP is returning a range, then you can still use that range in another range as another lookup. Let me quickly write something down. So we can also specify a wildcard in an XLOOKUP. So this wildcard is not always allowed in VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but it is allowed in if function. So it is allowed in if function. So you can read more about wildcard if you have the opportunity or if you are privileged to. So you understand how wildcard works. It is often used in expression manipulation. Like you are doing regular expression, you are doing greps and the likes. Yeah, when you are doing greps, grab and get. So we use wildcard a lot because we want to get strings, or let's say we want to get values that they are in the same they are in the same word, or let's say they are in the same value, but we don't know the exact value. We only have an hint about that value. Then we can use wildcard to say, okay, this number, I know that it ends with 42. How do I get the ones that are before it? Then you can use wildcard to specify that. An example is what I have shown here. And I said, okay, XLOOKUP N2. And that and is saying maybe look for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, anything that looks like 2 and something. Then look for it within this range and then return the value between this range and also return exact value. So when I say N2 and it can be 2 and any number. So that is what that simply means. So if you read this, you see that it allows us to find the data even without specifying it completely. We can find the character we can find by starting some characters in it and completing it with a wildcard. And a wildcard is simply denoted by asterisk. So let us continue. Yeah, so we have now practicals on logic functions and lookup. Then we have error handling. So I'll just do this logical operation and error handling together at the same time. So we will we will now we will now continue on understanding error handling in Excel, and when we have error, what does the error mean, so that we wrap up this phase of our slide. Sometimes in Excel, we want to write a formula. It might return an error due to some reasons. Some reasons might be that some entries does not follow the same some entry does not follow the same character type or the same data type. Some entries might be empty. Some entries might, just the way you multiply. Let's say we have a column that has numbers, and then maybe based on type error or typographic error, or let's say encoding error, it instead of having a number, you now have alphabet. And I'm multiplying all those numbers by, let's say, 2. My answer is also going to be a number. Let's say I do 2 times 12 is going to be 24. But then I got to a particular place and I do 2 times b. Mathematics tell me that it's 2b. Let's say I have done a validation rule and say everything in this column must be an integer. So whenever I do that kind of 2 times b, in that my response column is going to be an error because 2b is not an integer. Now that is error, and if we have that kind of error, how do we undo it? How do we undo it? And that is what error handling means in Excel. So sometimes in Excel, when we write a formula in Excel, it might return an error. Okay, yeah. So I said the 3 major ways to do this in Excel is to do error handling is use if error. So it returns a value you specify. If a formula gets an error, otherwise it returns the corresponding results. So this is the example of how to use if error. So I'm doing a simple arithmetic of A1 divided by A2. So it's supposed to give me a number. So I said if there is an error, write NaN, meaning that NaN simply means not a number. I hope you can still hear me. Yeah. So NaN simply means not a number. So whenever you specify NaN, for instance, I'm doing 6/2, and then it gives me 3, and then I get to a particular place that says A/2. A/2 is not a number. So it just write not a number. Instead of saying error, it should not write error. It should just say not a number. So we can also do is error. So is error is similar to if error, except that it uses Boolean value. So we are saying that if this is error, write true. If this is not error, print the value. So it returns true if the input is any error type. So if the input is so it's just like saying, I know this thing will give me error. So if it is an error, write true. If it is not an error, write the value. So that's where we use is error. So most of the time we use it on a derived column. Let's say we derive a particular column and I want to know the value behind that column. Let's say maybe I have masked the value with NaN. Let's say this place is actually an error, but I have masked it with, let's say, 4. Maybe for instance, I used if error. I say A1/B1. And now put comma. If it is an error, I type 4. So I want to know later, let's say in another column, which value in that sheet is an error. I can now use this is error. I'll just specify, I'll do cell referencing and specify that column that says and say, if this is an error, type true, otherwise type false. So I can now fit and say the ones that are true, they are actually error. I now manually do what I did if error, or yes, I did masking to type 4 in that column. So another way we can actually use to undo error is doing error.type. So there are different 8 type of error in Excel. So in this case now, if you want to do error.type, it will return the number. It will not return the type of error. You're not the one that know that if this error is error number 1, error number 1 is this type of error. If this error is error number 8, Error number 8 is this type of error. So we have different errors in Excel. We have referencing error. We have not a number. We have not available. So let's look at the 8 types of error we have in Excel and how we use error type to get them. Okay. So the first type of error you can have in Excel is value error. So this error occurs. So if you use error.type and it's giving you a response of error number 1. So this error occur when the data type this error occur when the data type a function. Okay, yeah, I get it. When you use a function and then you are supposed to get a particular data type and you are getting another data type, it is a value error. For instance, however, let me just explain how you get this error most of the time. Let's say after you have performed an arithmetic and then instead of it to give you a valid response, it will just write this kind of thing in your Excel cell, So if you see value error, it means that this is an invalid data type. And that is what that means. It's just saying this is an invalid data type. The second type of error is reference error. So if you are referencing a cell and the cell that you are referencing is an error, is a cell that has error. In the new one that you are referencing it, you are going to get a reference error. Or let's say the cell that you are referencing has been deleted. So you are going to get a reference error. Or let's say you are referencing a cell that does not even exist. Maybe you are referencing a sheet that does not exist. You are going to get a reference error. And that is when you are doing cell referencing. So if you are trying to do division and you are dividing by 0, when we divide by 0, mathematically it is undefined. So Excel will not tell you undefined. Excel will tell you that the division error because you are dividing by 0. Let me say I have a column that contains people's score and I want to divide everything by another column and part of that other column is 0. So it will return valid output for some column and the ones that have 0 to tell me that guy you are dividing by 0, this is undefined, and then I'll have this kind of error, division error. Another type of error you can have is name error. So basically if you are inputting a cell name and the cell name Excel cannot find it, it will bring out name error. So the error appears when Excel can't find a named range. Let's say you are specifying a data range, and then the data range Excel does not even understand it, or you are naming it backwards. Yes, you are naming it backwards. I want to look for a way you can. Okay, now let's say you are doing something. Instead of you to type something like B12, you are typing something like B minus 12. It's going to give you a name error because ordinarily B itself is, if you type B in cell referencing, B is the entire B column. And if that entire B column now does not contain a value that can be subtracted from 12, in fact, B is not an entire name column. This will give you a name error. But if you want to specify an entire column, you have to do B column B, meaning that you are starting from B wherever B is starting from, and you are ending at B wherever B is ending on. So if you do something like b minus Okay, apologies guys. My laptop just died. It is very unusual. Um, I was expecting it to prompt me that the battery is low before I use my backup power, but then maybe because I was on presentation mode, so it did not give me all the warning I was expecting it to give me, and it did not even last after that warning. After a warning, my system can go like 45 minutes more, but then it just gave me one warning and died. So I'm back now. Let me just get my slide and share so that we can continue. I'm really sorry about the break in transmission. So thank you very much, guys. I'll get my slide and share in 1 minute now. Okay, yeah. So this is where we were talking about the name error. So we also have this null error. This error gets returned when Excel can't figure out the range in a specified cell. So basically, this is always common in most data when Excel can't, and Excel does this when you can't figure out the range that you are mentioning. Like the way you mentioned, it's very similar to name error, but name error are basically for characters. Then null error are for values, like numeric
Hello,
values.
Olamide.
Yes,
So
I
please,
can
your
hear you.
presentation, your slide is not in presentation mode. Can you please put it in presentation mode?
Yeah, I'm coming. 1 minute. It is on my end, actually. Let me just
So
check.
you need to share the presentation mode screen then.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
It's just that I need to share the presentation. Yeah. So I was sharing the. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Akin. Now I believe you can see this in presentation mode. Okay, so we have now the NA error. Simply means not available. Yeah, this error also comes when a cell reference has been deleted and something like that. So this error happens when a function like match or lookup cannot find the value it's being asked to look for. You know that most of the time when we use match and index, we specify based on the index number. So when it goes there and it can't find anything, it will just return any, meaning that it is not available. Then we have this six ampersand sign. Is it ampersand or pound sign? I think they are pound sign. So this error occurs when the cell is not wide enough to display the content. And this one is very common when you just load up a new Excel sheet and the default cell space is smaller, and meanwhile the value is longer. To just wrap it up like this. This is not specifically an error that you should be bothered with. It's something that you can check to correct. You can just expand the cell size so that it's accommodated, or you wrap the cell value within that specific size. Then we have this error also, the norm error. This occur when a formula or function contains invalid numeric value, like all the unprintable values that we explained before. So when it contains it, then it gives you this number error. So we have name error, we have value error, we have number error. These ones are common errors. We have everything here are common errors basically in Excel. So when you have this type of error, it gives you an hint of what is going on with your data set. And that is why it is important for us to treat it. So let us move on. So I would like us to download our data set now. And our data set can be found in this link. So you can just go to your browser. I'll drop this in the chat too so that we can download it. So it's just AI_ed_d4. So for those of us that have questions on how to load the data, you are getting invalid data, your data is not valid, something like that. Let us just watch how we download this particular data now. And we are going to be using for this class. And just patient, I'll try to be as followable as possible, like so that you can follow me while I download this. But also just watch me first before you try it so that I don't get lost in the middle. So, and also for people that have asked that what version of Excel will I recommend for using Excel? So I will recommend if you can get Excel of 2019, I will recommend that. I think Microsoft Excel still offer the one you can get for free to that level. But I am using Microsoft 365, which is a Microsoft Office package. So I don't think that one is freely available, but there is no much difference between 2019 and 365. 365 is just an all-round Excel package, but 2019 is a particular version. So if you can get Microsoft Excel 2019, if you can get 2021, 2023, it is fine. Well, 2029 should be like, let's say your list targets, or if you are actually telling somebody, paying somebody to put it for you, then you can tell the person that the list that you want is 2019. So that is my recommendation on the version you can get. And also because these are the two prominent questions that have been coming up since day before yesterday, how they are not getting to load the data well, and also they have complaints on which version of Excel to use. So let's go now to downloading our data. So I'll stop sharing and try to share my entire screen. Okay, now I want to put in the URL that we have seen. Okay, I said I'll drop it in the chat. So let me drop it in the chat for us to see. Okay, thank you. Mr. Tejumala has also helped us to drop it well. I'll also be dropping it in a way that you can click it. Okay. So that way you can just click it and it will take you to wherever you want it to take you. So I'll also be using this link in my browser so that you can see it. So I'll type in https:// // bit.ly, bit.ly. Then I'll do a forward slash, then I'll do AI, then I'll do underscore ed, then underscore d4. So let me come again. Just for people that have issues on getting the link, you can do https colon, that is colon, then forward slash, the slash that is leaning forward. One, you do two of that, 1, 2. Then you type bit.ly. Then you do forward slash. Then you do AI underscore ed underscore D4, capital letter D. Everything under AI, ED, D4 is capital letter. Then you press enter. Now it will load see, it's loading the sheet directly. I believe you can see my screen. It is loading the sheet directly. I can see some people on the sheet already. But now this is Google Sheets. We are using Excel. So we are going to be downloading this, and I guess this is where some people don't get it. So to download this now, please watch. Under the name of this sheet, you see AIED4. It has given me the format .xlsx. It has given me the format. So you are going to click this file under it. So you click the file under it. Click the file. Click the file under it. So when you click the file tab, you are going to see options, different options. So the option to download is called download. So you see one arrow in front of it. Don't just click the download. Allow the arrow to point you somewhere. So after you click that, after the arrow points you, you see Microsoft Excel. Click on it and it will download your data set. So you click the file, go to downloads. When you go to downloads, you click on Microsoft Excel. You will see it there, XLXS, and then click it. So once you click it, it's download your data. So let's look at it again. I come to file, I scroll to downloads. I don't click it, it just brings out the option for me. And I click on Microsoft Excel.xlsx. So I don't need to do any other thing. You see, it's asking me, where do I want to save my data? So it's asking me where I want to save my data. I'm saving my data on that document and I'm not renaming it. AIED4, I just save it. So it's saying it already exists. Do I want to replace it? I will replace it, yes. Because I've downloaded it before, that's why it is telling me that it already exists. Now my data is downloaded and I can see it here. So you are not supposed to have any issues with downloading from Google Sheets, except you have pop-ups blocked. Well, that should not even be a reason why you are not able to download in Excel. So once you have downloaded, so address someone is saying he needs the download link. So let me paste the download link for you again. But by now, I believe everybody should have gotten that. So if you have gotten it, you are able to download it. Let me see your reaction in the comment section. Okay. So here is also one thing that we can note is, how do we load it into Excel? We have successfully downloaded it. How do we now load it into Excel? How do we now load it into Excel? All right, let's now open our Excel, a new sheet, a new sheet is opened. So allow me to stop sharing and share again. Just allow me to stop sharing and share again. Yeah, I believe now that you can see my screen. So I have Excel opened and yeah. So let's get our data into Excel. So we come to this data tab, we click on data, we click on get data, and under the get data tab, we can click from file. So because what we downloaded is an Excel workbook, so we click on workbook. So I'm doing this again because of some people might have difficulties trying to get the data in Excel. So once you have your Excel opened, click on this data tab, click on get data. Under the get data, you see file. So for some of us that are not going to see this get data, you definitely see some buttons here under this data tab that allow you to get that data. I've forgotten what that button is called, but you will definitely see a button that allows you to get data. So when you click on it, you can get data and then get from Excel workbook. So when you get your data from Excel workbook, you can then now download the saved under document AIED4. So I click it to import it. So here is one thing that you should note when you are importing it. Here is one thing that you should note when you are importing it. We can see that this is showing me. Let me see if my pop-up showing. Yeah, it is showing. So this is showing me two sheets. The first one is logical. The second one is lookup. I will have to do this one after the other. First, I will import my logical sheet. I click it, look at what is here. Monday, January to February, income, expenditure, and like that. I'll load it. I'll load it. Now, my first data set is loaded. Then I come to data tab again. I click on get data. I click on file from Excel workbook. I go to the name of my data set. And then I've imported logical. I also come here and import lookup. I'll come here and import lookup. So right here, I'll load the data. Okay, so here is it. So this is lookup and then this is logical. Everything is intact. Let me close this. So one of the things we want to do now is using the logical operations, making some example on logical operation and the like. So I want to quickly do it. Okay, now we have this. I'm trying to increase it so that it becomes clear to everybody. So now this is big enough. So we have months, we have income, we have expenditure. Now let's look at some logical operations that we can do with this table. So we can generate something like we have income and expenditure. Normally our income is supposed to be higher than our expenditure. Now let us see if we are going to have savings. So if we are going to have savings, we should return the value as true. If we are not going to have savings, we should return the value as false. So I want to call this column savings chance. I want to call this column saving chance. So I'll just do this. So based on what I have explained, I can say, okay, yeah, what I did before did not work. Let me just do it again. So based on what I was saying, in the if condition, you can say if this income is greater than expenditure. I'm using if condition. Remember now, if condition allow me to specify what I want in case of true. So when it is, I want it to return true. And if or let me say I want it to return yes. If it is not greater than it should return no. So I want to know if I have a saving chance or I don't have a saving chance. So here I'll come and type if equal to, then open. Yeah, I can just type if, then I open my bracket. Then I do a cell referencing. If income is greater than, use the greater than sign, expenditure. Now, I can do a comma. That's like my first argument. So what value do I want if it is true? I want it to do yes. If it is true, I will specify it with a quote mark. Do yes if it is true. Then if it is not true, do no. So you see the quotation mark right there. Then I do a close bracket. If I press enter now, okay, so it's saying that there is a problem with the formula. So I think I know where the problem is. So let me remove the quotation mark. Excel usually take like either two quotes or double quotation, double quotation, double quotation, double quotation. Yeah. So instead of using a single quote, you are using a double quote. Okay. So we can inspect that and see if I have a saving. You can see in some months I have saving chance, in some months I do not have a saving chance. Okay. So this by now you should have done checking. So I want to do something. I want to align to the center for easy to check easily. Okay, this is not aligning to the center. That's why. Okay. So this has aligned for easy checking. So I can also go ahead and do filtering and see which months do I not have saving chances, which months, so I can filter for no and say, okay. So I see that in March, I cannot save because my income is 2,500 and my expenditure is 3,000. In May, I cannot save. I earned 4,000. I spent 2,000, 4,200. In August, do you see that there are some, so I can further go ahead and do some analysis on my data and say, okay, if I am spending more money in some months than I am earning, it means that maybe those months that I have saved, I've actually saved enough money to spend in the next month. So let me just do what is my total income for the year and my total expenditure. How much did I spend entirely in that year? So I can just do this. So I unfilter, that means I want to see everything. And then I can come here and do total. So I will just try to be fast because we are running out of time. And I want us to see the lookup. So here I do equal to sum and I specify my column range just like that. And I type enter. So I earned a total of 5,800. How much did I spend? Let me see if so we can do this. You can also do, because it is relative, I can just drag this like this. And then it's telling me that, oh, yeah, within limits, you earned 53,800, you spent 52,900. So it means that it is possible, meaning that, oh, some month I saved more, some month I saved less. I don't even save at all. I spending my savings. So overall, during the year, it is what I spent within what I earned, meaning that I don't have any debt. I can still cover up whatever I'm able to spend. So that is basically that with if function, which is one of the logical function. Let's look at another logical function very quickly. We can do the multiple ifs function. Yeah, we can do multiple ifs function. So we can say to find months where both incomes is above, let's say we can look for a month where income is above 5,000. Yeah, where my income is about 5,000, and look for months where my expenditure is below, where I spend less than 5,500. So I want to do two conditions. I want to look at a condition where my income is above 5,000 and my expenditure, now let us not use 5,500, let us use my expenditure is below, let's say 4,500. So if those conditions are met, I would say, what can I return? What value can I return? I can say I want to return wise. Maybe I want to know months where I spent wisely and months where I did not spend wisely. So I can do this and say, let's call this wisdom check. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to be as free as possible with the names of the column. I'm not trying to think too much. So I'm calling this wisdom check. And what I want to return is that I'm doing a multiple if now. So this is like doing nested if, two conditions together, nested if. So if income is above 5,000, that's one condition. I want to nest it and say, okay, it is above 5,000. Those months, if my expenditure is below 4,500, then I will say wisely spent. So equal to if income above 5,000, that is one condition. And I want to do it such that I want to have another condition and say, and so instead of me doing comma and, I will now type another condition and say expenditure below 4,500. That's 45,000. So, and I close the bracket. Now, this and that is here is not going to make this work. The only way this will work is if I bring this and outside. So that is why you see that nested if. So I have to wrap these two conditions and put this and here. So this is now going to become if, and this and is saying this condition and this condition, check it. So if those two conditions are met, what value do I want to say? I want to say wisely spent. So those are the months where I did the wisely spent stuff. So if I did not meet that condition, then I can say what bad habits. Let's say bad habits. I hope this is how habit is spelled. So I think it's just one B. So let's see. So it's saying I have bad habits throughout. But now let's check. Let's check the formula for that. So the condition we did was that, okay, if I earn above 5,000, let's look at the month where I earned above 5,000. So this month I earned 5,000 and above. Did I spend less than 4,500? No, I spent 4,800. Yeah, I earned 6,000. I spent 5,500. Yeah, I earned 7,000. I spent 6,500. Yeah. So basically, throughout all the months, I have bad habits because there is no particular month where I earned above 5,000 and I spent below 4,500. So let's adjust the formula. Let's say I spent below 5,500. Let me see if it will work. I earned above 5,000 and I spent below 4,500. Below 5,500. Let's see. There's something wrong then. Because I'm supposed to have something like, so if, and then I have wisely spent. But this is supposed to, I earned 5,000, not above 5,000. Okay. Yeah, so this is correct. I was checking this formula. This is correct because I earned just 5,000. Wow, everything is bad habits actually. So if you check the formula, everything is bad habits. So let me see. Let me just edit this formula and I say I earned above 4,500. I just want to make a variation in the data. Okay. So even after reducing it, I still made a wise decision only once in the month of February. And we know that February will always come with its lesson. Maybe that's why the the wisdom spending check succeeded in February. So basically that is that with logic. We can also check for double conditions and the like. So let's quickly go to VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP before we run out of time. So you can also go ahead and do if error, if something with this conditional, with this logical check. But basically, I just want like nation on this so that we can get what logic does, what you can use logic to do in Excel. So let's come to this lookup sheet. Come to this lookup sheet. Let me increase this a little bit. So here we have names of students, and then we have whatever they have scored: mathematics, English, biology, physics, chemistry. So we have that, and then we are also trying to do like a lookup. So yeah, I want to quickly do something. I want to do sum divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm looking for average. I'm looking for average. So here is what we'll do. So I want to do average for fast. So I'm calling that average score. So basically how we do the average is that we sum up what you scored in all the subjects divided by number of subjects. So we are going to do is equal to open brackets sum. So I'm summing everything like this. So you see, I'm just clicking and dragging because I want to make it relative. So I'm summing everything like this. Not look up now. I said sum. Sorry. Open bracket. Then do sum. Then do everything. The formula is missing something. Yeah, an opening parenthesis. So after the sum, I need opening brackets. Then I need to highlight all of this. And then once I highlight all of that, I need to close the brackets. Yes, that does all the sum for me. And now I'll later divide it by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5. So then I close the bracket. I know some of us will ask, what formula did I use? I'll drop the formula for us very quickly. So now for this guy, his average is 81.5. So you see that this is just flash fill. This is automatic fill, flash fill in Excel. Just filled it up very quickly because I did a relative referencing kind of stuff and then it just works. So Excel is that easy. So the formula I used is this. I'll drop it in the chat for us so that we can see it. So so here is the formula. So if you are doing, this formula is somehow, because yes, I will explain something before we finish today's class. Well, you can use this formula. Why is this message not sending? Not sending to you. You can use this formula. You can also use this formula. I'm trying to edit it. Sum this, then that will be sum D1 to G1 F1. divided by 5. Yeah, you can also try that. So one of the formulas should work. Yes, one of the formulas should work. Of course, yeah. Okay, so that does it. So this is average. So one thing I want to do is now, I want to have this sheet here and say exam score. So I want you guys to help me with this. So I want score and then I want grade. So you guys should help me with this. So yeah, I have F, I have D, I have C, I have B, I have A, and then I have here, I have, if you score below 30, you have F. If you score below 30, you have F. If you score below 45, you have D. If you score 60 below, you have C. If you score 70 below, you have A. If you score 100 below, you have A. Okay, now we have this grade. We have this grade guide. So one thing in Excel is you can actually define this as a table. So somebody asked in our first class that how did I style the table? So you can actually style this table. So let's do a styling very quickly and name the table. So if you highlight the range of your table, you can come to format as table and then quickly click a table style. There are a lot of table style here. I'll just pick this one. Now click OK. So this is my table style. I styled my table. I have score, I have grade, I have 30, I have A. So I want to also give this table a name. So I click the range, trying to see if I can move this around. So I click the range, I click on table design. So you can see table name. The name of this table is table 3. Here, you can change the name to score guide. You can just do this here, score guide. So whenever I'm referencing this table, I can just reference the table as score guide in my cell referencing. Anytime I click a table, this table design comes up, and under this table design, I can name my table. So I can use this table name in referencing in Excel, just the way when we did this sum average, you see it's giving this as mathematics, meaning that everything that is here is mathematics. That's the name of the column. So we can actually name our table. Let's call this one student sheets. Select the whole of the table. Select the whole of the table. Come to table design. You see this as lookup table. Call it student sheet. Give it a call it student sheet, and then that's the name of the table. You realize that anytime we select it as our data range, it is selected as student sheet. So that is that about table names. I just want to show us how we can name our table, because by the time Excel starts using it in referencing, we might be wondering, where did this name come from? It's actually the name of the table. Either Excel gives it a name by default or the name that is specified by yourself. Okay, so I want to ensure that I'm still sharing my proper screen. So here now, I want to put grade in this part of the sheet. The way I want to do the grade is such that if this student score 81.4 and it falls between this grade, let me rename this sheet as grade. I want to return the grade in this sheet. So we are going to be using a VLOOKUP, vertical lookup. So I'll say equal to VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, open bracket. Which value do I want to look? I want to look for this 81.4, meaning that where does this 81.4 fall under my grade sheet? So I will click 81.4, comma, table array. Which table do I want to look for? So I come and click this table. So let's go back to our sheet. You can see when I click the table, this is the table array. So I want you to look at this thing here. You can see that the name of our table that we changed, we call our table score guide. You can see that Excel took it as score guide and it said all of the table. So that is why I showed you what a table name does in Excel. Because if you are not giving our table a name, Excel will just say table 3. And you'll be confused that which one is table 3. The table you are created. So you can create multiple tables on one particular sheet. So once you give your table a name, whenever you are referencing that table, Excel understands the table that you are referencing. Okay, so after table name, what column do I want to return? That is column index number. So I'll say comma, I want to return values from this column. And it is, remember, it is index number. So the first one here is index 1. The second one here is index 2. So instead of me typing grade, I'll type 2 because it is asking for column index number. So that is actually that. Then it is saying, do I want a range lookup? So a range lookup, I can actually say true. Look for it because I'm looking for 80.5 and 80.5 is not here. So I'll specify it as true, meaning that I want a range lookup. So if I close bracket and I put enter, now let us see what it has done. So it has said this guy has grade of B. Now, this is what happened. Yeah, so this is, you can see, if you look at this very well, nobody will have A because there's a wrong assumption in my grade sheet. So it should be that anybody that scored, this place should be 70. Anybody that scored above 70 A. Anybody that scores, this place should be 60 actually. Then this place should be 45. If you score above 45, you have C. If you score above 30, you have if you have D. If you score above 0, you have F. So this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. So if I come here now, you see that this guy now has A. So the guy that has not a number before, I actually spotted that error because of that's not a number. The guy that scored 20, so it was not seeing any number to give it. So this guy that has 79 now has A. So basically, based on that score guide, I'm able to grade all of these guys and then I can align it and say, okay, give these guys, align these guys to the center, something like that. So you can see how easy it is to just quickly use VLOOKUP to look up for a particular very fast and then grade students based on that. So I want to show us XLOOKUP. We are almost out of time. So let me quickly show us XLOOKUP and show us how versatile XLOOKUP is to VLOOKUP. So here is what I want to do. I have some names of some guys. So I'll just do this. So let me say, I want to choose prefects. I'll just call this place. Let me just call this place name. Let me call this place score. Let me see chemistry. Physics. Let me just see chemistry and physics. So I'm trying to do XLOOKUP. So this name now, I want it to be okay. Let me just get a name from here. So let me just get Chijindu Eze. Chijindu Eze. Let me just get Chijindu Eze. So let me come here. This name here. So I want to do it in such a way that, okay, whenever I see this name, get his chemistry score for me. Get his chemistry score for me. So I want to show you what XLOOKUP can do. So we have chemistry score here, we have physics score here. So I want to get his chemistry score. So I'll just say equal to XLOOKUP and say, okay, what do you want me to look for? I want you to look for this name. So I click the name and say, comma, look up array. Where do you want me to look for it? I want you to look for it in my table. Remember, I call that table students sheet. I'm trying to type student sheet, and Excel is already telling me that, see, this is the table you are looking for, student sheet. So that is another reason why it is important to name the table, because you don't have to go and click the whole of the table. Once you know the name of your table, just type maybe like 3 to 4, and Excel will suggest for you. Then you can say, okay, what do you want me to return? I want you to return a column named physics. So basically in Excel, when you are specifying a column, you put it in a square bracket. So if I do this and this, let me do this and say chemistry. Let me see if it's will. Okay, so it's not doing autocomplete on that for me. So let me go and highlight chemistry. So I want you to look for return between this range. Return this range, yes. So you can see saying grade FF. Okay, that's how it's specifying that column range. Then I want you to do not grade actually. It's supposed to be lookup. That's the name of the sheet. So lookup and then look between FF. Then match mode. It's not, I don't want it to be exact. So let's just close it here. Let's see what to return. Yeah, so it's saying value error. So it's putting the error on this guy. A value used in this formula is of the wrong data type. So let me see. I'm looking for E9. Apologies, guys. I'm just trying to. Oh, it should not be. X lookup. Value to lookup. I'm looking for this guy. Then I'm looking for it here, and I'm trying to return from there. Okay, let me do it here. Let me do it here. Sorry, guys. So I have his name here. So I have the name here. Just follow me a bit. So I want to return a score. So I'll say equal to X lookup. I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to be fast. So I'm looking for this value, and I'm looking for it within this array. I'm looking for it in this array. Let me just specify this array. I'm looking for it here, and also lookup array. I'm looking for it here. Come on now. I'm looking for it here. And I want to return all the values that are here. I don't like how we are running out of time. So that is basically what I want to do. So let me call this 64. I don't know, maybe it is referencing between two sheets that was making me have error the other time. So it is just as simple as, okay, sheet name, chemistry, sheet name, names. Okay. Basically, this works if I do it in another sheet too. So let me do this here. So I don't know why it is not working here. Now it's saying nothing. Basically, it's this guy. Let me do this. I'm coming out. I want to know why it is giving me error, because once you have error like this, it is important to know it's because of this guy I am referencing that is making me have error. So I want to clear the data. There's a way you can actually clear data formats in here. Okay, clear formats. Okay, let me delete it since it's changing to easy. So let me just type it. So it's just telling me that it is error. So, and this is actually E9. Then I've specified E9 here. So guys, I've seen the error. It's saying J9 instead of E9. It should be E9. Yes, so it's not supposed to be J9. It's saying E9. So now this is chemistry. So what I want to show you, because it's already 1 o'clock, what I want to show you is that if I change the name of these students, I can get the name of whatever, the score of whatever student in chemistry. So let us just look at the name of another student without. So let's use this guy, Yusuf Musa. Let's use this guy, Yusuf Musa. So let's come here and let's just type Yusuf Musa. Let's say this student just come to my office and is asking for a score. And I don't want to go through the whole of that list. I'll just tell him, type your name here. You just type Yusuf Musa. And then it tells me Yusuf Musa has 87 in chemistry. No big issue, no big looking at anything. XLOOKUP can look for anything from any sheet, from anywhere. The same thing, I can use this same formula that I used here. I can use it for my physics. I'll just copy it. In fact, you don't even have to stress yourself. If you just do this, just drag it like this. So it's saying not a number because this is the sheet I want to return. Is saying where I'm looking for is supposed to be name. So I'll just come here and change this to name. Name. And then I want to return his physics score. I'll just change this one to physics. So it's giving me one error like that. Which is not supposed to be giving me. So I'll do this again. So this is supposed to be E9. This is supposed to be E9. Then this is supposed to be name. I think, is it name or names? Yes, names. Then this is supposed to be physics. So it's just as easy as that. You don't have to stress so much. Then this Yusuf Usman now had 91 in physics. Now let us verify. Yusuf Musa, 87 in chemistry, 91 in physics. Yusuf Musa, let's go. Where are you? Yusuf Musa, chemistry, 87, physics, 91. So you can do that. You can return his grade, you can return his anything, and that is basically what XLOOKUP allows us to do with Excel without stressing ourselves. Now, one beautiful thing in Excel is that you can actually include this in a dashboard. If you create your dashboard in Excel, you can include something like this and style it in a table format. And let's say you style it in a table format. Come here, style as a table, style it like this, and then give it some nice look. Remove the filter, and say, come to data, remove the filter. In this place, enter your name. in this place, because I've put enter your name, I can actually change. You see, this is not a valid name in that cell. So I can just say, okay, yeah, I'll show you how to style this now. Yeah, I can come to home and reduce this to like 8 and then change the color to something that is very pink. I'll just do this. Sorry, I'm almost rounding this up now. So I'll just do this. I'll copy this entire name and I'll come to my sheets. Basically, these are some of the things that you are supposed to learn tomorrow. So I'll come to this sheet. I'll just put everything empty here. I'll just put this, yes. So if I come here, you can see 0, 0. It is no longer giving me NaNa again. So it's just 0, 0. I can actually do this. I put space, 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 space. If I come here now, it's showing, you see that it's showing not, it's not showing 0 again, it's showing space. So it means that whenever a user that is a student is coming here, you can enter the name of any student and then it will automatically, you see this place is empty now, it automatically populates this space for us. So basically, Excel is just about, oh, you know what this thing can do? How do you think this thing can be used? And that is like, if you are able to think like that, that is the proficiency and the whole body of knowledge that that you need for Excel for data analysis. What can this thing do? How can I use it to achieve what I want to achieve? So let's try with Chuka or Kafo. Chuka or Kafo. Let's just type Chuka or Kafo. So am I correct? Chuka or Kafo. So I typed capital letter. It's supposed to be initial K. So in fact, it even got it for us, Chuka or Kafo. It's 8872. Very, very easy to use. So if you have another student, the student will just come, type their name, and it will populate. Then you can always clear the names or something. So that is what that can do for us in Excel. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be stopping the lesson here today. If you have a questions, if you have questions, drop it. I'll be here to pick it. And if I can't pick it, it should be answered on the Telegram channel. It is nice being the tutor of this session today again. Thank you very much. And this is where the lesson stops. Over to you, Mr. Tedru.
Wow, wow, wow. Please, please, I want you all to show your excitement and appreciation to our tutor, Olamide Shugbamu, by using your favorite emoji on the chat. I can see a lot of comments on the chat to appreciate the tutor for a well done job. I can see someone like he's a wizard. Yeah, he actually knows his onions. Yes, yes, yes. So good. Thank you very much, Olamide, for this well delivered, lecture. It's great. It's great. It's great. Okay, good. So let me see if I can quickly in the next 3 minutes, if you can answer some question before you leave. Okay, and on the first question, although I've already tagged you in a lot of questions that have been asked, and then I'm just going to be picking one or two questions now. Okay, so my question would come tomorrow after reviewing today's class, as this was very much to digest for my growth, one bite at a time. Okay, thank you very much, Asham Caesar, for that comment. Okay, please, can you share the practical sheet for a guide? Okay, so I think that will be a discretion of the facilitator. So we are going to discuss that after this to know because we actually want you to be hands-on. I shared earlier on that I want everyone to practice as as the facilitator guides us. Okay, so if you have been doing that, you are supposed to have your own at least a replica of the notes by now. So you shouldn't be asking for the facilitator's notes. Okay, good. But on compassionate base, we can consider that. Okay, thank you so much, DSN, for this great opportunity. Okay, let me see. I don't have XLOOKUP in my Excel. Okay, so Olamide, Ladi is saying he or she does not have XLOOKUP on his or Excel. I don't know. Is there any response to that? Is there a way you can get that? Or it's just a formula that you
Um,
just need to correct?
Actually, XLOOKUP, if you have Excel 2019 and upward, you have XLOOKUP. But if you don't have, then you can try using VLOOKUP to do what X, because basically VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is what they bring together to make XLOOKUP. But if you
Awesome.
don't have XLOOKUP, you definitely have VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. But if you can get 2019 Excel and above, you definitely have XLOOKUP in those ones.
Okay, so those of you that could, thank you very much, Olamide. So please, anyone who could not sign the attendance form yesterday, you can just send, or even before, you can just, and you attended the class, the session. Please, you can just send an email with an evidence that you attended. Okay, so with an evidence that you attended, probably the notes from your practice or something to show that you actually attended. Just send it to AI Community at Data Science Nigeria.ai. That should show that you actually attended so that your requests can be considered. Okay, so thank you everyone. I'll be dropping the attendance link now for everyone who's yet to join, to register, to sign up to that before I end the class, and I have dropped it already. Okay, so please, if you are yet to sign the attendance uh, form for today, please do so. It's very important for you to sign the attendance form because that's evidence that you joined the class. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, please let's continue our conversation on the Telegram group. The translator is also on the Telegram group. Bye.